Hey cat lovers, welcome back to another video. Here's something you probably never thought about. Your cat might be drinking water completely wrong. And I don't mean the adorable, messy way they lap water with their tongue. I'm talking about a serious hydration problem that affects millions of cats and is one of the leading causes of kidney disease, urinary tract problems, and a whole host of health issues that can dramatically shorten your cat's life. The scary thing is, most cat owners have no idea this is happening. Your cat might be chronically dehydrated right now, and you probably think they're drinking just fine. Today we're going to talk about why cats are terrible at drinking water, how this affects their health, and most importantly, what you can do about it to protect your cat's kidneys and urinary system. By the end of this video, you'll understand one of the most overlooked aspects of cat health, and you'll have practical solutions you can implement immediately. If you care about your cat's long-term health, this is information you need to know. And if you love learning about cat care and health, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now let's talk about why your cat's drinking habits might be a serious problem. The desert cat problem. Let's start with some biology that explains why cats struggle with hydration in the first place. Domestic cats descended from desert-dwelling wildcats in the Middle East. These ancestors lived in arid environments where water was scarce. They evolved to get most of their moisture from their prey. A mouse, which would be a natural meal for a wild cat, is about 70% water. When a cat catches and eats a mouse, they're getting a significant amount of hydration along with their nutrition. This evolutionary history created cats with a very low thirst drive compared to other animals. Dogs, for example, evolved in environments with more available water sources and developed a much stronger instinct to seek out and drink water. Cats just never developed that same drive. In the wild, they didn't need it because their food provided their hydration. But here's the problem. Most domestic cats don't eat mice. They eat commercial cat food, especially dry kibble, which is only about 10% water. That's a massive difference. Your cat's body is expecting to get 70% of their hydration from their food, but they're actually getting only 10%. That leaves a huge gap that needs to be filled by drinking water. And this is where the low thirst drive becomes a serious issue. Even when a cat is becoming dehydrated, they often don't feel thirsty enough to seek out water and drink an adequate amount. They'll drink some water, sure, but often not nearly enough to make up for the moisture deficit from their dry food diet. This leads to chronic low-level dehydration that most cat owners never notice until it causes serious health problems. The kidney disease epidemic, chronic kidney disease, is one of the most common health problems in cats, especially as they age. Studies show that somewhere between 30 and 40% of cats over 10 years old have some degree of kidney disease. And one of the major contributing factors is chronic dehydration. Your cat's kidneys are responsible for filtering waste products from the blood and producing urine. When your cat isn't properly hydrated, their kidneys have to work harder to concentrate the urine and conserve water. Over years and years of this extra strain, kidney function starts to decline. The damage is gradual and cumulative. You won't see it happening until it's already progressed significantly. Here's what makes kidney disease so insidious. By the time your cat shows obvious symptoms like increased thirst, increased urination, weight loss, or decreased appetite, they've already lost about 75% of their kidney function. The kidneys have an enormous reserve capacity, so they can continue functioning even when badly damaged. But once symptoms appear, the disease is already advanced. And kidney disease is progressive and irreversible. Once kidney tissue is damaged, it can't regenerate. The best you can do is slow the progression and manage the symptoms. But if you could prevent that damage in the first place by ensuring proper hydration throughout your cat's life, wouldn't you want to do that? Chronic dehydration doesn't just affect the kidneys. It also increases the risk of urinary tract infections, bladder stones, and urinary crystals. Concentrated urine creates an environment where crystals can form and bacteria can thrive. Male cats are especially vulnerable to urinary blockages, which are life-threatening emergencies that require immediate veterinary intervention. The bottom line is this: How much water your cat drinks isn't just about quenching thirst. It's about protecting vital organs and preventing serious disease. And most cats are not drinking enough. Signs your cat is dehydrated. So how can you tell if your cat isn't drinking enough water? Dehydration can be subtle, especially in its early stages. Let's talk about some signs you can watch for. One of the most reliable tests is the skin tent test. Gently pinch the skin at the back of your cat's neck and lift it up slightly. When you release it, the skin should snap back into place immediately. If the skin stays tented or takes more than a second or two to return to normal, your cat may be dehydrated. However, this test is less reliable in older cats or very thin cats whose skin naturally has less elasticity. Check your cat's gums. They should be moist and slippery. If they feel dry or sticky, that can indicate dehydration. Press your finger gently against your cat's gum. When you remove your finger, the spot should return to pink color within 1 to 2 seconds. If it takes longer, this could indicate poor circulation related to dehydration. Look at your cat's eyes. They should be bright and moist. Sunken eyes or eyes that look dull can be a sign of dehydration. Also watch for decreased urination. If you're scooping the litter box and noticing smaller clumps or less frequent urination than usual, your cat might not be drinking enough. Lethargy and decreased appetite can also be signs of dehydration, though these symptoms can indicate many different health problems. If your cat seems less energetic than usual, is sleeping more, or isn't interested in food, dehydration could be part of the problem. One subtle sign that many people miss is thick, sticky saliva. If you notice your cat's mouth seems unusually sticky, or if they're leaving saliva spots that seem thicker than normal, this can indicate they're not well hydrated. Of course, if you suspect your cat is dehydrated, especially if they're showing multiple symptoms, get them to a vet. Severe dehydration is a medical emergency that requires immediate treatment with subcutaneous or intravenous fluids. Why? Cats won't drink from bowls. Even when water is available, many cats simply won't drink adequately from a traditional water bowl. There are several reasons for this, and understanding them helps explain why your cat might be drinking less than they should. First, cats have incredibly sensitive whiskers. Those whiskers are covered with nerve endings and provide your cat with detailed sensory information about their environment. When a cat drinks from a deep, narrow bowl, their whiskers constantly touch the sides of the bowl. This creates an uncomfortable sensation called whisker fatigue. It's not painful, but it's annoying enough that some cats will avoid drinking if it means dealing with that sensation. This is why wide, shallow bowls work much better for cats than deep, narrow ones. Some cats actually prefer drinking from a plate or saucer rather than a traditional bowl. The wider the drinking surface and the lower the sides, the less their whiskers will be bothered. Another issue is water freshness and temperature. Cats are very sensitive to the taste and smell of water. Water that's been sitting in a bowl for several hours starts to accumulate dust, saliva, food particles, and develops a stale taste. Cats can detect these changes, and many will avoid water that doesn't taste fresh. They instinctively prefer fresh, moving water, because in nature, moving water is safer and cleaner than stagnant water. Water temperature matters too. Many cats prefer cool, fresh water rather than room temperature water. If the water bowl is sitting in a warm room all day, the water gets warm and less appealing. Some cats will drink more if you add an ice cube to their water bowl to keep it cool. The location of the water bowl is another critical factor that most people get wrong. Many cat owners put the water bowl right next to the food bowl because it's convenient. Makes sense, right? Everything your cat needs in one spot. But cats don't like this arrangement at all. In nature, cats don't drink water near where they eat. A kill site where a cat would consume prey could contaminate nearby water sources with blood, bacteria, and decomposing matter. Cats evolved to keep their drinking water separate from their eating area. This instinct is still strong in domestic cats. When you put the water bowl next to the food bowl, your cat's instincts tell them that water isn't safe or appealing. Move the water bowl to a completely different location, away from the food, and many cats will drink significantly more. Better yet, provide multiple water bowls in different locations throughout your home. This gives your cat options and increases the likelihood they'll drink adequate amounts. The bowl material problem. Here's something else you might not have considered. The material your cat's water bowl is made from can affect how much they drink. Plastic bowls are probably the worst choice. Even though they're cheap and widely available, plastic bowls scratch easily, and those tiny scratches harbor bacteria that can contaminate the water and create an unpleasant smell and taste that cats detect even if humans can't. Plastic can also leach chemicals into the water, especially if the bowl sits in sunlight. Some cats are actually allergic to plastic and develop chin acne from eating or drinking from plastic bowls. Stainless steel or ceramic bowls are much better choices. They don't scratch as easily, they're easier to clean thoroughly, and they don't leach chemicals or retain odors. Ceramic bowls have the added benefit of keeping water cooler for longer, which many cats prefer. Whatever material you choose, the bowl needs to be washed daily with soap and water. Just dumping out the old water and refilling isn't enough. The bowl needs to be actually cleaned to remove the biofilm that builds up on the sides. This biofilm is a layer of bacteria and organic matter that forms on surfaces in contact with water, and cats can taste and smell it. The magic of moving water. Now let's talk about one of the most effective solutions to the cat hydration problem, moving water. Cats are naturally drawn to moving water for several reasons. First, as we mentioned, moving water is perceived as fresher and safer than still water. Second, the movement catches their eye and triggers their interest. Third, moving water is naturally aerated, which can improve taste. You might have noticed your cat trying to drink from the faucet, fascinated by dripping water, or even drinking from the toilet where the water moves when flushed. These aren't weird quirks. These are your cat following their instincts toward fresh, moving water. This is where cat water fountains become incredibly valuable. A good cat fountain provides continuously circulating, filtered water that stays fresh and appealing. Studies have shown that cats drink significantly more water when it's provided in a fountain compared to a still bowl. Some studies show an increase of up to 50% in water consumption. When choosing a fountain, look for a few key features. First, make sure it's quiet. A loud motor will scare cats away rather than attract them. Second, choose one that's easy to disassemble and clean. Fountains need to be cleaned regularly, and if it's a pain to take apart, you won't do it as often as you should. Third, consider the capacity. Larger fountains need to be refilled less frequently. Fourth, look for fountains with replaceable filters to keep the water clean and fresh. There are different styles of fountains. Some have a gentle bubbling flow, others have a stream or waterfall effect, and some offer multiple flow options. You might need to experiment to find out what your cat prefers. Some cats like to drink directly from a flowing stream, while others prefer to drink from the bowl part where water collects. Place the fountain in a quiet area where your cat feels comfortable, away from food bowls and litter boxes. Some cats are initially suspicious of the fountain and need time to adjust. Don't remove their regular water bowl right away. Let them have both options until they start using the fountain consistently. One important note about fountains: they require maintenance. The water needs to be changed regularly, the fountain needs to be cleaned at least once a week, and the filter needs to be replaced according to the manufacturer's recommendations. A dirty fountain with a clogged filter is worse than a clean bowl. If you're not willing to maintain a fountain properly, a clean bowl that's refilled daily is better. The wet food solution. Here's one of the most effective things you can do to improve your cat's hydration, and it addresses the problem at its source. Feed wet food instead of, or in addition to, dry food. Remember, your cat's evolutionary biology expects to get most of their moisture from food. Wet food provides exactly that. Wet food is typically 70 to 80% water, very similar to the moisture content of natural prey. When you feed wet food, your cat is getting substantial hydration with every meal. A cat eating exclusively wet food gets most of their daily water requirement from their food and needs to drink much less supplemental water. Many veterinarians now recommend feeding cats primarily or exclusively wet food, especially for cats with kidney disease, urinary tract problems, or cats who are prone to dehydration. The increased moisture intake can make a dramatic difference in kidney health and urinary tract health. If your cat currently eats only dry food, you don't have to switch completely to wet food, though that would be ideal. Even replacing just 50% of your cat's dry food with wet food can significantly improve their hydration status. You could feed wet food for one meal a day and dry food for another, or mix wet and dry together. Some cats who've eaten dry food their whole lives can be resistant to wet food at first. They don't recognize it as food because the texture and smell are so different. If your cat won't eat wet food initially, be patient and persistent. Try different brands and flavors. Some cats prefer pâté style, others prefer chunks and gravy, and some like shredded varieties. Warm the wet food slightly to enhance the aroma. Start by mixing a tiny amount with their regular dry food and gradually increase the proportion of wet food over several weeks. One concern some people have about wet food is dental health. There's a common belief that dry food cleans teeth. This is mostly a myth. Most cats don't chew their kibble enough for it to have significant cleaning action, and dry food doesn't prevent dental disease. What does help with dental health is regular toothbrushing, dental treats designed for oral health, and annual veterinary dental cleanings. The hydration benefits of wet food far outweigh any theoretical dental benefits of dry food. Another consideration is cost. Yes, wet food is generally more expensive than dry food, but consider it an investment in your cat's long-term health. The money you spend on wet food now could save you thousands in veterinary bills for kidney disease, urinary blockages, or other dehydration-related health problems down the line. Prevention is always cheaper than treatment. Adding water to food. If you're feeding wet food, here's a trick that can boost hydration even more. Add water to the wet food. Most cats will readily eat wet food with extra water mixed in, creating what's basically a soupy stew. This provides even more moisture intake. Start by adding just a small amount of water to the wet food and mixing it in. A tablespoon or two to start. If your cat eats it without hesitation, you can gradually increase the amount of water you add. Some cats will happily eat very soupy food with a high water-to-food ratio. Others prefer it thicker. Experiment to find what your cat likes. You can even add water to dry food, though this is less effective, and some cats won't eat soggy kibble. If you do this, add just enough water to moisten the kibble without making it mushy, and serve it immediately. Don't let moistened dry food sit out for more than 30 minutes because it can spoil quickly, especially in warm weather. Another option is to offer low-sodium chicken broth or bone broth as a drinking option. Many cats find broth more appealing than plain water and will lap it up enthusiastically. Just make sure the broth doesn't contain onions, garlic, or excessive salt, all of which can be harmful to cats. You can make your own cat-safe broth by simmering chicken or turkey in water with no seasonings, then straining out the solids and offering the cooled broth to your cat. Multiple water stations. Just as you should have multiple litter boxes throughout your home, you should also have multiple water stations. Don't expect your cat to walk across the entire house every time they want a drink. Make water easily, accessible from any room your cat frequents. Think about where your cat spends their time. Do they have a favorite sleeping spot in the bedroom? Put a water bowl there. Do they spend time in the living room? Water bowl there too. Do they hang out in your home office while you work? Another water bowl. The more options your cat has, the more likely they are to drink adequate amounts. Some cats have preferences for drinking in certain locations. Maybe your cat likes to drink after waking up from a nap, so having water near their favorite sleeping spots makes sense. Maybe they drink after using the litter box, so having water somewhat near, but not too close to, the litter box area could help. Observe your cat's habits and place water strategically. Having multiple water sources also serves as a backup. If one bowl gets dirty or contaminated with food particles or fur, your cat has other options. This is especially important if you're away from home for long periods during the day. Temperature and ice. Some cats have definite preferences about water temperature. Many cats prefer cool or even cold water to room temperature water. If you notice your cat isn't drinking much from their bowl, try adding an ice cube. The cold water might be more appealing, and some cats enjoy licking the ice cube itself or playing with it. You can freeze low-sodium chicken broth into ice cubes for an extra enticing treat. These broth cubes added to water provide both coolness and flavor. Just be aware that flavored ice will melt and dilute the water, so the bowl will need to be cleaned and refreshed more frequently. In winter, if your home gets cold, you might notice your cat drinks less. This is partially because their body isn't losing as much water through cooling mechanisms, but also because cold water is less appealing in cold weather. Slightly warming the water to just above room temperature might encourage drinking during colder months. Recognizing individual preferences. Every cat is an individual with their own preferences and quirks when it comes to drinking water. Some cats will only drink from a fountain. Others are afraid of fountains and prefer still water. Some cats like to drink from glasses or cups rather than bowls. Others will only drink if the water is in a specific location. Pay attention to your cat's behavior. Do they try to drink from your water glass? Maybe they prefer drinking from a glass-shaped container. Do they paw at their water bowl before drinking? They might be testing the depth or trying to create movement. Do they prefer to drink in private? Place water in a quiet, low-traffic area. Some cats have adorable quirks like dipping their paw in the water and licking their paw rather than drinking directly. Others will only drink if you turn on a faucet for them. While you don't need to cater to every whim, understanding what encourages your cat to drink more is worth accommodating. There are cats who like to knock over water, bowls, and drink from the puddle. Frustrating, yes, but this tells you your cat prefers water on flat surfaces. Try using a very shallow, wide dish that's harder to tip over, or place a small amount of water on a plate. Medical causes of increased thirst. While we've been talking about cats who don't drink enough, I need to mention the opposite problem. If your cat suddenly starts drinking significantly more water than usual, this isn't something to celebrate. Increased thirst and urination can be symptoms of serious health problems, including diabetes, hyperthyroidism, and yes, kidney disease. If you notice your cat is suddenly drinking much more than they used to, or if you're filling the water bowl constantly, or finding huge clumps in the litter box, this warrants a veterinary visit. Excessive thirst is never normal and always indicates something needs to be investigated. Early kidney disease, ironically, often causes increased thirst and urination, as the kidneys lose their ability to concentrate urine. More water is lost and the cat becomes thirstier. This is different from the chronic dehydration we've been discussing, which happens when healthy kidneys are struggling with inadequate water intake. Other symptoms to watch for, alongside increased thirst, include weight loss, increased appetite or decreased appetite, vomiting, lethargy, and changes in behavior or personality. Any of these combined with increased water consumption requires veterinary attention. Monitoring water intake. So, how much water should your cat be drinking? The general guideline is that cats should consume approximately 1 ounce of water per pound of body weight per day from all sources combined. So a 10-pound cat should be getting about 10 ounces, or just over 1 cup, of total fluid intake daily. This includes moisture from food as well as water drunk directly. A cat eating exclusively wet food is getting most of that from their food and might only drink an ounce or two of actual water. A cat eating dry food needs to drink much more, potentially 6 to 8 ounces or more, to meet their hydration needs. Most cats on dry food don't drink nearly enough to compensate for the lack of moisture in their diet. Monitoring exactly how much your cat drinks is difficult, especially in multi-cat households. But you can get a general sense by paying attention to how often you refill water bowls and how much water seems to be consumed. If you're refilling a small bowl daily and it's empty each time, your cat is probably drinking reasonably well. If you're refilling it weekly and it's still mostly full, your cat isn't drinking enough. For a more precise measurement, you can fill the water bowl with a measured amount of water and then measure how much remains after 24 hours. The difference tells you how much your cat drank. Do this over several days to get an average, accounting for evaporation and any water that might have been spilled. The bottom line on cat hydration. Here's what you need to take away from this video. Your cat almost certainly isn't drinking enough water if they're eating primarily dry food and drinking from a regular bowl placed next to their food. This chronic low-level dehydration is setting them up for kidney disease, urinary problems, and other health issues that will likely show up years from now. The good news is that improving your cat's hydration is completely within your control and doesn't require any special skills or expensive interventions. Feed wet food, provide fresh water in multiple locations, consider a water fountain, use wide, shallow bowls made of stainless steel or ceramic, and pay attention to your individual cat's preferences. These simple changes can add years to your cat's life and dramatically improve their quality of life. You have the power to prevent kidney disease and urinary problems just by making sure your cat gets adequate moisture. That's a pretty amazing return on investment for something as simple as how you provide water. If you want to learn more about protecting your cat's health, especially as they age, I've written an ebook called Emergency First Aid for Senior and Disabled Indoor Cats. It covers hydration issues, kidney disease, and many other health topics that cat owners need to understand. You can find the link in the description below. And make sure you're subscribed to our channel because our next video is going to be the 30-Day Cat Bonding Challenge, a month-long program of daily activities that will transform your relationship with your cat. You won't want to miss it. Your cat is depending on you to understand their needs and provide appropriate care, even when those needs aren't obvious. Now, you know that hydration is one of the most critical and most overlooked aspects of cat health. Do right by your feline friend and make sure they're getting the moisture they need. Thanks for watching, cat lovers. We'll see you in the next video.